The toughest jet ski series in the world is just about to get even tougher. This is AquaCross. We are 90 miles south of Miami at the breathtaking Islamorada. This beautiful island paradise is the backdrop to the toughest weekend yet of the AquaCross Pro Enduro Tour. With a dropped race in Sarasota last time out due to wildlife delays, this weekend is going to be an ultra-tough 4-race epic with a massive 100 points up for grabs in round 4 of the series. As the riders headed out to a fan-packed Lido Beach for race 1 in Sarasota, no one expected the drama that was about to unfold.
Well, here we go. The green flag is dropped here in Sarasota. As we take a look at second place, Brian Baldwin. Uh-oh, Mccluggage breaks down. Baldwin goes by, carries Francis with him on the 911. And Francis goes down. Here comes Ian Tosca.
So after a Mccluggage DNF and a well-deserved top spot for Ian Tosca and Sea-Doo in race 1, what would race 2 throw at us?
We are off and away. You see him stay hooked up. Uh-oh, looks like somebody gets up close and personal with the buoy. And that was Ian Tosca. Chris MacClugage cruise on to another victory.
Well, normal service, a Mccluggage race win, but it was super consistent Brian Baldwin who took the weekend, leaving the table looking like this. Chris Saxon, who only moved up to pro level this year, in 6th, the Clipper in 5th. Next up, Sarasota race winner Ian Tosca in 4th, Eric Francis in 3rd, a late championship charge from Baldwin putting him in 2nd. But despite his DNF in race 1 in Sarasota, top of the table, Mr. Mac Attack himself, Chris MacClugage.
Yeah, there's a lot at stake. Obviously, it's a big points weekend. A lot of good riders out there. Eric Francis is on my heels, as well as Brian Baldwin. So for me, I need to actually work. I need to put in some effort, and I need to put in some time in the gym. You know, I got to get out there and race and do it. And we're able to do it still with not putting a big effort into it. But, you know, I'm squeaking by, so I'm having a good time.
Brian, how did it feel to take the overall win in Sarasota?
Well, anytime you can come out here in top 5, much less win, you know, it's a huge accomplishment, and you know, it felt awesome. You know, I'm going for a championship here, so you know, the wins are a big help. You know, I just have to come out here and be consistent, and just apply pressure and apply pressure and apply pressure, and I think that's going to be the chink in the armor. I really like the chops, so you know, it's going to be a little equalizer, and you know, there's 4 or 5 of us out there that are really good in it as well. So I've really got to just bear down and, you know, do what I do.
We've had quite a few changes. Had an issue with our old ski and changed up to a newer model. And then in the meanwhile, I've been going to Hard Exercise Works in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, training 7-8 times a week, trying to get that edge over, you know, Mccluggage in the race this weekend. So we're hoping that we can apply that to our race program and put out a better race. With all the training, I feel really confident going in. We're better prepared than we've been all year, and believe we got enough to take the edge this weekend. You have a lot more people out there, a lot more different riding styles. You know, amateurs, you know, can struggle a little bit out in their conditions. So, you know, you might have a couple people flying off. You have to avoid more lap traffic. I mean, it just makes the whole race a lot more interesting.
Yeah, Sarasota was really great.
It was fantastic to get a win in Moto 1 there. Happy to put Sea-Doo, you know, up front, and just really looking forward to being consistent this weekend and doing it again. Race 2, you know, I had a little help in the back end. Someone bumped into me and kind of the boat hooked and hit the buoy wide open. Kind of hurt a little bit, but we got going again and still salvaged second overall for the weekend. So all in all, wasn't bad. I'll take it. But I definitely train hard, you know, pride myself on being fit, and it's definitely going to be, you know, hard competition out there, and you're going to have to be in really good shape because it's going to be rough. There's going to be a lot of riders out there. It gets choppy here in Islamorada. So, you know, just keep my head down, hopefully all the training pays off, and just ride smart, and hopefully I can put Sea-Doo back on top.
So I'm here with our commentator, Mikey Young, and we're here in Islamorada. Now, Mikey, we've got 4 races total this weekend. That's 2 today and 2 tomorrow. How do you see that playing out?
Well, I'll tell you what, Brian Baldwin coming off of a win in Sarasota. You know, he's got a lot of momentum coming into this race, and but you can't forget about Ian Tosca. Ian Tosca has been training like a madman, and the way the choppy conditions are out here, they're probably going to play to his favor. But watch out for Eric Francis, always a dark horse. He's always in the mix. And you can't forget about your points leader, Chris MacClugage. You know, 100 points to be made up this weekend, and somebody could make up a lot.
Sounds like being fit and staying fast is going to be key. We'll see how the racing goes. So the riders are getting ready for race 1, and here's Ford star Eric Lagopoulos to tell us how to attack the course.
This is one of the biggest tracks of the year. You know, it's 2 miles long, a ton of room to operate, long front straight, couple tight dog legs, long back straight. So yeah, we're excited to get this Ford Yamaha out front today. The start is critical with so many guys out there, 60-something guys out there. So, you know, getting a good jump on the start is going to be critical. So there's a long front straightaway into a pretty hard first turn, and then into a 3 buoy left corner, and then a long back straightaway, and back down the front. So it's a long track. There's a lot of room for us to operate, and hopefully we can get out there and pass some people.
Join us after the break, and we'll be racing. Welcome back to the 2017 AquaX Pro Enduro Tour. So here we go to race 1, and over to Mikey.
Hey, thank you, Deanna. It's a great weekend to be here at the Postcard Inn. Man, the weather has been absolutely beautiful. Now, out here, we're about a mile offshore. You can take a look at the course. We've got about a 2-mile course. This is probably the longest course that these racers have seen all season. Here is we get set to enter round number 4. They'll start at the far north side of the track. They'll work their way south, and when the green flag drops, they'll head to 3 orange buoys. As we take a look right here before we get started, Anthony Radetich, factory Sea-Doo rider, as we go on board with Anthony, one of our top riders out here in his rookie debut. Flanked to his left is Jason Russo, boat number 77 on the Geico boat. And the green flag drops. We are underway. It's 30 minutes plus a lap to glory here in Islamorada. It's a mad dash to turn number 1 as we go on board with Anthony Radetich. Radetich has sitting in the middle of the pack right now. Has a tough row to hoe as you see our racers headed toward turn number 1, and 30-plus riders out here to do battle with us at round number 4. Again, this is race number 1. Radetich, again, factory Sea-Doo rider, and there's a lot of bumping and grinding. Again, the water right now, choppy, chopping at about 3 to 5 feet, and it's got to be really tough on these riders. It's going to be a battle of attrition this weekend as we head through turn number 1. It looks like it is, looks like a red flag is coming out. And I believe 2 of our racers may have gotten together, which caused that red flag. So they're going to bring him back to the starting line, and we will have a complete restart here of race number 1. Going back on board with Anthony Radetich as the green flag gets ready to drop again. There we go. We are back and underway. Radetich once again coming from the middle of the pack, and there is nothing but jet spray out there. Chris Saxon, one of our rookie racers, went on board with him. Chris out of Orange Beach, Alabama, riding on a Yamaha. Eric Francis, who's had a stellar season so far, on the 911 out of West Palm Beach, Florida. He's down here to get a little redemption from a tough finish in Sarasota. Again, back to Sea-Doo-sponsored Anthony Radetich. Radetich hugging that buoy right there, not trying to leave the door open for anybody as he works his way around our 7-turn course. This is the most turns that these racers have seen in aquacross here in 2017, and the longest course, again, being at just under 2 miles long. Taking a look at the leaderboard, it is Cyril Lemon out of France, followed by Mccluggage, and then Francis running 1, 2, and 3 right now. Well, a great view of the track here from the race control helicopter. Uh-oh, Cyril Lemon looks like he's having some problems. You see some deceleration there, and you got to wonder if he didn't lose a lanyard or something. Meanwhile, Mccluggage able to get by, pulls Francis and Ian Tosca with him, 1, 2, and 3. And Cyril Lemon looking around like, hey, what the heck just happened? So a tough break there for the Frenchman, Cyril Lemon, who had a tough break in Daytona last year coming off of a bad injury. And Brian Baldwin also now moving up into the mix, currently sitting in the 4th place position. As we go on board with Baldwin and taking a look, he's got a lapped rider flanked to his right. Chris MacClugage, still your race leader and attaining speeds at 70 miles per hour, and that is pretty amazing. Just to know that this 3 to 5 foot chop not slowing the Mac Attack down. Again, this kid is something else, one of the best surf riders in the world. Ian Tosca falling a little bit off the pace. Brian Baldwin back into 3rd and Cyril Lemon in 4th. As we take a look at Chris MacClugage, McCluggage riding smoothly as he divides the lappers, working into the left-hand turn up at the top left-hand side of the track, or far north side of the track, as we view it here from Double Agent and Captain Sean's boat. Getting ready to make the turn back up. We've got 2 right-hand turns on this course this time as we get ready to head into that first right-hander, and you can see a lot of these racers actually missing that first right-hand turn. Had a lot of problems with scoring that turn right there. As the guys come up, there's a lot of jet spray in their face, and they'll go to the right-hand side of that marshmallow instead of going to the left-hand side. Mccluggage able to keep it tight, keep it straight, but he's still got company. Brian Baldwin not going to go away as Baldwin works his way through the pack. Baldwin didn't get the best of starts. Again, Brian riding for Riva Racing, as well as Champion Power Sports up there in Catawba, North Carolina. Mccluggage, again, working his way through the lap traffic. And Chris, one of those very smart riders, very intelligent, knows when to pass and when he needs to hit the brakes and wait for that opportune time to pass. Anthony Radetich right now, looks like Anthony's got an issue, a steering issue right there for Radetich, as his boat will only go straight. So they'll throw up the yellow flag, and we'll get Radetich off the race course, go back out to your race leader, Chris MacClugage. McCluggage again riding for Dean's team Yamaha, and in Sarasota having a very, very unusual breakdown. I think the last time that we had seen him break down was the 2016 P1 AquaX Tour back up in Chicago, which speaking of Chicago, that's where we'll be heading next here after Islamorada. Your race leader is still Chris MacClugage as he makes his way through the sweeper, again up at the northeast side of the track. Chris Saxon putting on a great show this season. Again, coming out, this is his rookie season. Last year taking a win in the 300 amateur class in the P1 division. Glad to have him up here racing against the big boys like this guy right here, boat number 911, the Eagle, Eric Francis. And I know Francis would like a little redemption for his 4th place in Sarasota as well. Going on board with Eric, and you can see the helicopter right there in front of him. Trying to chase it down in the Eagle. Eric Francis, one of these guys that has been working out very hard this season, wants to overtake that #1 plate from Mccluggage, and he's really put a lot of homework into it. Him and his wife are doing a lot of cross training, and we talked to him a little bit earlier in the pits, and he said he is ready to go, ready to tame the waters here in the Florida Keys. Chris Saxon still up there in the mix, and Chris looking for his best finish here in P1 AquaX in the Pro 300 division. When I say 300, for those of you folks listening in at home, That means 300 horsepower. That's what all these boats have out there, and these are the boats that you can buy on Monday, race on Saturday and Sunday. So I know that you're looking at that boat that's going to be winning on Sunday, and that's the boat that has been winning on Sunday. Right there is that factory Dean's Team Yamaha, sponsored by Broward Motorsports and Monster Energy. Chris MacClugage has been pretty much unstoppable. Had one bad race in Sarasota, race number 1, but he is really making up for it here. And I'm sure that he'd like to get a victory this weekend, as his father actually celebrates his 76th birthday. Spoke to his father, Richard, last night with his mother, Helen, and they came down from Naples, and they're very excited to see their son out here competing in the Florida Keys. Now, Chris's brother actually lives right down the street here in Marathon, Rick McCluggage, and he's one of his tuners. Again, as we take a look out, Chris riding absolutely fantastic out there today, working his way through traffic like a hot knife through butter. Again, coming to the latter stages of this one here, Brian Baldwin is still in that 3rd place position, was able to steal it away. Him and Saxon been battling it out. You can see he's got a bond flange hanging off the right-hand side of his machine. Don't want to have any parts flying off and sucking them up your pump, that is for sure, as they are on the north side of the track. They are headed east. One more turn and then down the front straightaway. A terrific battle and a great view there from our green light team, or I should say our green flight team, part of our green light team, as you can take a look at the entire course of what it looked like out here in Islamorada. Back on board with Chris MacClugage, and he can show you just about how rough it is out there as he tries to get around the 611 of Marco Mango. These guys actually combined with our amateurs this weekend. 58 total racers out on the track. That's 911. The Eagle, Eric Francis, riding for Riva Racing. Dave's Auto Body currently sitting in that 2nd spot, trying to hold off the charges being thrown down by Baldwin. Going to be very interesting to see how this pans out, as Baldwin trying to catch up to that 911. Sorel Lamone in the 5th spot. And you can take a look up just to his left is the Clipper, and to his far left is actually Brian Baldwin. So it's going to be very interesting to see if Sorel can stick it in there, push Baldwin to the outside. Again, Clipper now moves to the inside of Lamone as we view it here from the shores of the Postcard Inn. And here comes Sorel Lamone. Lamone again going to try to stick his nose in there. Off to his left, and it's going to be a drag race as they work their way south toward the sandbar. Lamone trying to pull ahead of, you can see side by side, bond rail to bond rail. It doesn't get any better than this. Some great racing here. This is only race number 1. We've got 2 more to go. And McCluggage still your race leader with Francis, Baldwin, and Sorel Lamone all battling it out. That's giving McCluggage a little bit of breathing room as we take a look at the Mac Attack as he works his way through the sweeper there on the east side of the track. Getting ready to make that turn, come back our way toward the Postcard Inn, and McCluggage again riding stellar out there. This 3 to 5 foot chop is nothing to shake your head at, ladies and gentlemen. We've been out here with the scoring team in this 3 to 5 foot chop for the first 25 minutes of this one, and it is no fun, and we're just sitting on the boat. We're not taking these boats 70+ miles per hour like you see your leader right there. You know, most of you at home watching this, you take your jet skis out, you're going 25 miles per hour. Just imagine the jarring that is back and the arm pump that he's got while this is all going on. Back out to Eric Francis, who is currently running in that 2nd place position as time slowly winding down here. It could be the case of too little too late for Francis and Baldwin. We shall see as we head into the late stages here of race number 1. Taking a look at Eric Francis, boy, this kid is really fit, man. He's really been working on his cardio, doing the CrossFit. Brian Baldwin still in the 3rd place position. And Baldwin with a great finish last weekend in Sarasota, taking the big win over Mccluggage and Ian Tosca. So he has something to defend out here this weekend, as we see some parts coming off the right-hand side of his boat, and I believe that's his bond flange that's coming off. And you don't want that to come off and get stuck up your pump, because that'll slow you down real quick. The white flag Now comes out for the Mac Attack, Chris MacClugage, as he takes a look over. Less than a lap to go for Mac, who is again putting in a stellar ride, trying to go almost wire to wire. Sorel Lamone with a hole shot, but McCluggage was able to get past him there a little bit later on that first lap. And as we go back on board with Chris MacClugage, you can see he's just taking a pounding out there. Look how tough this surf is. I mean, you cannot read it. It's actually not surf. It's more of a chop that we're working through. And you can see he's getting bounced around like a rag doll out there and got to be tired. The fatigue has got to set in. 30 minutes plus a lap is a long time. I don't care how good a shape that you're in, you are still getting beat up. And you can imagine if you're a recreational rider and you're looking at that right there, you're probably going to slow down. You just seen he was going 56, 57 mile per hour, which is really a ridiculous speed in this chop. Again, not too much time left as McCluggage with a couple more buoys to negotiate before this deal is in the books. And again, throwing in a heck of a ride, has led every lap except for the first lap, as we had pointed out. And right now looking to give his father a 76th birthday present here with a Moto #1 victory. Again, only a straightaway to go as McCluggage takes a look over. And trying to find a checkered flag out there. But again, you can see how rough it is. Just taking a pounding, nothing but white water, and skipping off the top like a sandstone. As he works his way, the checkered flag out, and it will drop for the Mac Attack. Chris MacClugage taking another P1 AquaX race victory. A great job there by Mac. As we take a look, it was Chris MacClugage taking the win, followed in by Eric Francis in second, Brian Baldwin third, Sorel Lamone in fourth, the Clipper Mike Klippenstein in fifth, and Chris Saxon, the rookie, in sixth.
So a great win for Mac. Join us after the break for day 2. Welcome back to Islamorada for day 2 of round 4 of the AquaX Pro Enduro Series. Now, Mikey, it all happened yesterday.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Chris MacClugage giving it up for his father's 76th birthday, taking the win. But I'll tell you what, Francis and Baldwin were right there in his back pocket. 2 more races today. Unfortunately, not able to finish yesterday because the winds picked up, caused some delays, so only 75 points to be had this weekend.
Now, speaking of those points, with 2 races to go, how do you see that playing out?
Well, I'll tell you, Baldwin, Francis, both really need the points, so they're going to give McCluggage all he can handle.
So Mikey is headed off to the commentary box, and this is how the overnight standings look.
Chris MacClugage adding to his lead with another 25 points. Francis in second with 18. Brian Baldwin will pick up 15 points. Sorel Lamone 13. The Clipper 12 points. And Saxon with 11.
Thanks, Mikey. Now the riders are preparing for race 2.
Race number 2 getting ready to take off here in sunny Islamorada, Florida, as the racers head up to stage. Now, between the first and second races, there has been some storms which have changed the conditions. As we take a look at the race course will remain the same. Still about approximately a 2-mile race course that sits right out in front of the sandbar. And here we go, racers getting ready to take off as the green flag getting ready to drop. There we go. We are going green here from Islamorada, and it is now a mad dash to turn number 1 as we go on board with the winningest racer ever here in the last couple of years. That is the Mac Attack, Chris MacClugage on that Monster Energy Dean's Team Yamaha. A great view there from our race helicopter, and you can see how many racers and how tied up things are there. Again, a lot of white water out there today. Conditions still pretty much the same, and uh-oh, there's trouble. A red flag comes out, and we are going to have to bring them back and go with another complete restart. So they'll bring him back and get him staged again as Chris MacClugage goes over to the marshal and gets a word in. Here we go with the restart. Start number 2 of race number 2. A couple more riders to be staged on the near side, and here we go. We are headed south. A great view here once again from the postcard inn, and we are going green for the Ford Grand Prix of the Seas. We are off and away and headed into turn number 1, and it looks like Sorel Lamone with another good start. Behind him is McCluggage, and Baldwin also up there in the mix with Ian Tosca on the outside. And we go back on board with Chris MacClugage, and you can see Sorel Lamone flanked just to his right Lamone with about a 1 second advantage over Mccluggage as they head into turn number 1. It's Lamone, Mccluggage, and Baldwin. Three of the names that we talk about all the time here at P1 AquaX. Again, you're watching the Pro 300 division. These are the top pros in the world, and they certainly do come from around the world here. I know we have racers from at least 4 different countries here this weekend as we go back on board with Mccluggage, and you can see Mccluggage fighting to try to get by Sarasota Lamone. Lamone with his second hole shot of the weekend. And Mccluggage, again, we talked about it earlier, one of those smart riders. He picks and chooses the times that he would like to get past riders. Hazy conditions again out here today plague some of these racers. Obviously not optimum as we see Mccluggage get to the inside. Oh, and Mccluggage hooks it. Looked like he had actually taken the lead away from Lamone momentarily, but Lamone able to maintain that lead. Taking a look at it again through the goggles of Chris MacClugage. You can see he hooks it, but he's straight away right back on the gas and still able to maintain that second place position. So a tough break there for Mccluggage as we take a look at it again. There we go, on board with Sarasota Lamone, and Lamone riding smooth right now. The Frenchman would love to take home a race 2 victory after his bad collision in Daytona and making his comeback. It's still Sarasota Lamone, Chris MacClugage, and Brian Baldwin running 1, 2, 3. So Chris MacClugage looking to make a pass here on Sarasota Lamone. As we take a look, McCluggage looking to move into the lead here. Brian Baldwin hot on his tail though, so McCluggage able to get past Lamone. But here comes Baldwin. Baldwin working to the inside as they split the lapper. They'll make a left-hand turn, top north side of the track, and Baldwin working way to the inside, McCluggage to the outside. Baldwin moves into the lead. So it's Baldwin, McCluggage, Lamone, 1, 2, and 3, and a lot of action taking place here on just this last lap. McCluggage currently in second place, working his way through some lap traffic, and Baldwin, meanwhile, trying to put a little real estate between he and the Mac Attack. Take a look there. Chris still riding very smoothly out there after taking a win in race number 1. Baldwin working his way through lap traffic as well. We'll see if it slows him down and puts Mac right back into this one. But right now, Baldwin with a solid 3-second lead over McCluggage. Trying to keep that Yamaha hooked up. Again, Brian been a closed course racer for many, many years. Raced with the IJSBA closed course and has raced the World Finals out in Lake Havasu for many years. Making the switch here to P1 AquaX last year. Not making the last 2 events, but making up for it here this year. Again, with a win a couple of weeks ago in Sarasota, and I'm sure he'd like to see a race number 2 victory and an overall victory here in Islamorada. Baldwin, McCluggage, and now Ian Tosca, the Sea-Doo rider, has moved up into 3rd place. Great to see Erminio back up and on it. Had a bad get off in race number 1, and he is back out here and on the attack. Chris MacClugage still in 2nd place position. As we take a look, many riders out here this weekend coming from far and wide, and you can tell just by the all the jet spray. These riders are all so spread out, and it's got to be tough to be riding in the mix of all of them, which your leader, Brian Baldwin, is doing right now. A tough road to hoe for Baldwin as he has got 14 minutes, 40 seconds plus a lap, so we are over halfway there. Again, the race conditions very similar to yesterday out on the water. The water a little bit more murkier than it was yesterday for race number 1. As these riders here, I was talking to Erminio Ian Tosca in the pits a little earlier, and Ian Tosca said that this was actually the roughest water that he has ever raced in his 25-year racing career, and that's saying something because he has been around the world and raced in some really crazy places. Back out to 2nd place, Chris MacClugage. McCluggage trying to keep Baldwin in his gun sights. He doesn't want Baldwin to get far enough away where he can't make that strike on the last lap. So right now, about 5 seconds in between 1st and 2nd place, and Baldwin looking smooth out there. You can tell he's getting tossed around a little bit because it's hard to ride smooth in 3 to 5 foot chop. Brian is also one of those racers who brings his family with him to every one of the races, his wife Miranda and daughter Portia, and they've become a big part of his pit crew team. Taking a look back on board with Chris MacClugage, who currently sits in 2nd place, but again, you know that Chris, even when he's down, this guy is not out. Well, let's take a look at our top three just over halfway into this one. Baldwin, Mccluggage, and Sorel Lamone, the Frenchman, still hanging in there as they work their way into turn number 1. They'll make the turn, go back out to that right-hand sweeper that leads out to the top of the tee there. And here comes Mccluggage. He's coming on strong, and this could create a great finish on this difficult track. Back on board with Sorel Lamone. Sorel Lamone slows down a little bit. Now, we see Mccluggage, he was going right around 70, 71. Saxon was going around 70, 71. And Sorel Lamone must be getting a little bit tired as we see him slow down to about 56, 57 mile per hour. So Lamone, we'll see if he can't climb back into this. He grabbed the whole shot, and you can see Mccluggage up there 70, 71 mile per hour. And that's really making a statement here with this chop today, but still in second place to Baldwin, so he's still got some homework to do. Well, he's not going to have much time to do it as the white flag comes out from our scoring boat as we go on board with Victor Nolan, the Nolanator, riding for Jiffy Lube and Pennzoil as the leaders go by. Again, 1 lap is a lot of time here on a 2-mile course. A battle for first between Baldwin and Mccluggage as we see them head up to the top tee section of the course, about 3/4 of a lap to go. Again, Baldwin with a bunch of lap traffic. You can see they're splitting the lappers. That's Mccluggage working on the inside. Now, Baldwin had a 5-second lead over Mccluggage, but Mccluggage has been pinning it to win it here on these last couple laps, and he has climbed right back into this one, only running about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds off the pace, being thrown down by Baldwin. You can see our leaders right there. That is Baldwin on the red Yamaha, boat number 50246, coming up on the inside, and you can see Mccluggage really starting to close hard with less than a lap to go. This is getting exciting. Here we go, 30 minutes plus a lap, and it all comes down to this. Only about a boat length separating first and second place right there. Again, Baldwin working the outside. Not too much time left to go, less than a half lap to go. As we see the pounding that Baldwin's taken in 30 minutes plus a lap, you know that he's got to be tired. He's got to have spaghetti arms about now. And he's trying to take a look around. He's trying to find out where Mccluggage is. He knows he's right back there, knocking at his back door. The thing is, will Baldwin let him in? And here we go. Not too much time left to go as we get ready to come down the front straightaway. And there is Baldwin working the inside. It's Mccluggage on the outside. 2 more turns till we head down that front straightaway. It looks like Mccluggage trying to work to the inside of Baldwin. And Mccluggage steals the lead away from Baldwin. Baldwin not done yet as he crosses through the wake. He'll work to the inside of Mccluggage. And looks like he'll have cleaner water than Mccluggage. Did you see him pulling on Mccluggage? Will it be too little too late? Wow, what a race. Mccluggage on the outside. The checkered flag is out, and who will get there first? It's a drag race. Here comes a scoring boat, and it looked like Chris MacClugage will possibly take the win. Oh my, what a race there by Mccluggage. Baldwin with a heck of a finish must not have known that that was Chris flanked to his inside. Wow, Mccluggage able to steal it away here on the final lap. And we'll go back, take a look at it again. That's Mccluggage on the blue 46 on the outside, and Baldwin on the inside. And Baldwin grabs a handful of throttle as here comes the checkered flag. Boom! And Mccluggage gets there less than a boat length ahead of Baldwin. So Mccluggage extends his lead with another 25 points. Baldwin in second, Lamone in third, Francis, Saxon, and Klippenstein round out your top 6.
I got really tired during that race. Brian Baldwin rode a good race, but kind of when he caught me, I was sitting down and tired. It was really hot out there. It was a fatiguing race, but I figured I'd pace him on the last lap, save up some energy to catch him. Caught him, and you know, he charged down that front straightaway, but in the end, I was first. That's all that matters.
2 races and 2 wins for Mr. Mac Attack. Can you do it again and win them all? Join us after the break to find out. Welcome back to Islamorada. Sorel Lemoyne and Brian Baldwin gave Mac a run for his money in race 2. Let's see if there's more of the same in race 3.
Okay, well, here we go. It's the third and final race of the Ford Grand Prix of the Seas here, P1 AquaX. We're round number 4, and it is low tide here in Islamorada as we go on board with Arminio Iantosca, racers taxiing out to the staging area before they get started. Eric Francis, got to be one of the favorites here, picking up some Abaco sunglass sponsorship. And P1 AquaX USA Pro Tour. Here we go. Third and final race from Islamorada. On board with Chris MacClugage. McCluggage sitting in pole position. And the green flag getting ready to drop as you see the view that McCluggage sees. And here we go. 30 minutes plus a lap. We are off and away and headed into turn number 1. And the water's still kind of rough out here as there's some white caps. Definitely some sheep on the bay today. It looks like McCluggage trying to vie for a hole shot here, but he's got Clipper and Baldwin right there with him. And it's a long way into that first turn. Again, we talked about it earlier, this track being a 2-mile track. This front straightaway, probably the longest straightaway that these racers have seen all season long. Back on board with McCluggage as we look into turn number 1, and Chris looking for a hole shot here. As you see right to his outside, it looks like a Clipper, Mike Klippenstein. Jason Russo also up there in the mix on the yellow number 77 Geico boat. And it's nothing but pump wash there in turn number 1. Well, as the jet spray clears, it looks like McCluggage and Klippenstein, Baldwin currently running 1, 2, 3 here at the onset of the final race of the weekend. Taking a look at Brian Baldwin, and again, you can see the conditions. They do not look that rough when you're watching from anywhere, actually. But when you're on one of these boats, I'll tell you, you are getting beat up. And you can see him hopping up and down out of the water. Again, the goal is to keep that pump hooked up because you're not going anywhere if that pump is not in the water. And you're taking a look at McCluggage and Mike Klippenstein. Klippenstein, another one of the most winningest racers ever. Doesn't get his due justice here on P1 AquaX, but in closed course racing, that kid is something else. And speaking of the kid, we'll go back on board with Chris the Kid MacClugage, his original nickname, of course, now known as the Mac Attack, as he works his way through this P1 AquaX course. You can take a look and see exactly where he is out there on the course. As we view it here from the Devil Agent, he is on the northeast side heading west. Gets ready to make that turn and come down that front semi straightaway. Chris MacClugage in control of this one. Again, a winner the first 2 races here in Islamorada. Going to try to pull a hat trick here, and we'll see if he can do it. Again, you can see how difficult it is. And Francis currently sitting in that 4th place position. Francis having a difficult time here the last couple rounds of P1 AquaX. Still right up there in the top 5, but we expected to see him up there around 1 or 2. With the absence of the Aswar brothers, Francis really has an opportunity. We'll see if he can make the best of that opportunity. Not only finishing this race here as we head into Chicago, but then also our final round, which will be held in Fort Lauderdale in November. Again, we'll be taking the top 10 racers and qualifying them, all taking them to Key West for our World Championships of P1 AquaX. We'll take everybody who's hit the podium and the top 10 as we go back on board with Eric Francis. Eric Francis has moved up into that 3rd place position, getting past Sorel Lamont. So now we got McCluggage in front, Clipper in 2nd, and Francis in 3rd. Clipper was up there in the points as well as we headed into the latter stages of last year. Just had some bad luck the last 2 rounds, and starting to come on strong here in the final 3 rounds. But the man with the bullseye on his back is Chris MacClugage on that Monster Energy Yamaha. McCluggage has been riding stellar all weekend long. Again, we pointed out earlier his father's birthday weekend, and I'm sure he'd like to hand him that overall trophy for his 76th birthday. McCluggage, you can see the speeds that he's going right now, 70, 71 mile per hour, which is very quick with 3-to-foot chop here in Islamorada. And we are on the inside of a sandbar, so we're really getting a lot of reverb, not from the sandbar, but just from the seawall and the sandbar, and of course all the flotilla. We've got probably right around 200 to 300 boats out here watching from the outside of the track. McCluggage working his way through lap traffic. Again, doing an amazing job being able to cut through those lappers And again, at 43 years young, this kid is something else because he's racing against people half of his age. He's been racing for approximately 30 years now, been all over the world, and he's won every big race. We know him as the GOAT in personal watercraft racing, which stands for the greatest of all time. Brian Baldwin, I'm sure, would like to take that title away from him. Baldwin still hanging tough here in that second place position. As we take a look out, Clipper and Baldwin battling for second and third place, and these two have been switching up back and forth. And you can see the Clipper back in second right now. Baldwin falling a little bit off the pace, back in fourth with Francis in third. A great job by the Clipper, Mike Klippenstein. Clipper comes from Canada and has been doing the P1 AquaX here. This is his second year, but it's really come on a lot here because when you come from a closed course vantage point, closed course a lot easier than this P1 AquaX because it's a lot quicker. You know, your races only last about 6 to 10 minutes in length. Here with AquaX, 30 minutes plus a lap, and you can see the grueling conditions that these guys and gals are going through out there are just amazing. You know, hats off to each one of these riders. You know, just to finish, I think that everyone should get a trophy here. And I'm not saying everybody should get one of them finisher medals, but if you're out here and you're racing for 30 minutes, literally when you come off the track, your arms are like spaghetti. Mccluggage, Baldwin, and Klippenstein. Now Francis sliding back out of the pack into that fourth place position. So again, a lot of battling going on there for second, third, and fourth. And with all that going on, that's given Mccluggage a little bit of breathing room here in this third race. And although Mccluggage may have some breathing room, don't count out this guy right here, Eric Francis. Eric Francis is always one of those who comes on strong at the end of a race. And Baldwin the same way. So again, those two are going to be pushing each other. And don't forget about Klippenstein. Klippenstein's still hanging out there in the top three. And he is no stranger to endurance racing, racing a bunch of endurance racing on the West Coast. And here we go. Looks like your race leader coming through the middle of the pack, and that's the Clipper on the outside, splitting a back marker. Mccluggage, Klippenstein, Baldwin 1, 2, and 3, but Clipper looking to make the pass. He's getting out the broom and sweeping hard, and Clipper goes into the lead for the first time this weekend. Mike Klippenstein, Chris MacClugage running 1 and 2 with Baldwin back there in third. Now McCluggage looks like he's going to try to steal it back away. Clipper hits a wave. Oh, hits his head. And McCluggage over to retake the lead. Clipper, an amazing job being able just to stay on that boat. He sticks his lanyard back in, and he is back out on the track, still running top 5. We'll give you a position on him in just a moment as McCluggage working his way through back markers. He was feeling the heat, and both of them were pinning it to win it right here through the start-finish line, as the white flag getting ready to come up here in Islamorada for the last time this weekend. Chris MacClugage in a solid lead right now, not like the second race where he was battling with Baldwin. The first race he came in about 7 seconds ahead of Francis, but here comes MacClugage again, less than a lap to go. The white flag is flying, and the Monster Energy Broward Motorsports pilot has got to be grinning ear to ear underneath that helmet. Again, Mac with a huge fan base, and this one of the only races that we did not show on the live stream, but you will be able to catch the live stream from Chicago and Fort Lauderdale for rounds 5 and 6 here of the P1 AquaX Tour. You've been watching the Ford Grand Prix of the Seas. With 1 lap to go, Chris MacClugage in first place right now. Clipper was in second. Looks like Francis was able to get around Clipper, as was Baldwin. And again, we see the green tetrahedron coming up, and that means, again, not too much time left to go. Just a couple more buoys to negotiate before this one's in the books. And Chris MacClugage trying to pull a hat trick off here in Islamorada. You know, he did it earlier this year in Daytona. He was able to pull off a hat trick. Had his problems in Sarasota, but it looks like he's got those problems erased right now. McCluggage, Francis, and Klippenstein running 1, 2, 3 with less than a half lap to go. Taking a look out there, moving up into that 4th place position, Arminio Iantosca, and Iantosca been on the move for Sea-Doo. So trying to get that Sea-Doo back up onto the podium for Untitled as here comes Mccluggage down that front straightaway one final time. And boy, I'll tell you, this kid, it won't be the first time that he has won here in Islamorada. The checkered flag is out, and Chris MacClugage, the Mac Attack, will take the win and pull off the hat trick here in Islamorada. A great job there by Mac as he salutes the man upstairs for giving him all that talent. All right, your top 6, Chris MacClugage in front, followed by Francis in second, Clipper in third, Saxon in fourth, Untitled in fifth, and Baldwin in sixth.
Just, you know, I get out there and I try to set a pace, and to be honest, you don't know where the heck you are on the course. You know, what I want to really try to do next year is have some type of communication with my pit guys and to see where my location is on the track, because I start to let up, think I have a good lead. My vision is really poor. So I think like the guy behind me is just a lapper, but it's actually Clipper coming up or someone else coming up. So I, you know, once they come up and pass me, then I get back on it and pass them back and hopefully win the race.
Well, here's how they stack up after 4 rounds. McCluggage, your points leader with 229. Francis in second with 159. Baldwin in third with 158. Untitled, Klippenstein, and Saxon round out your top 6.
Give it up for Chris MacClugage!
Well, it's been a great weekend here in Islamorada with some really close racing. Join us next time as we move to the Great Lakes. We'll see you in Chicago.